must have called 1,000 times to tell you I'm sorry for everything that I've done. But when I call you, never seem to be home.
Chapter 18. Why? 3 days later, I was still in the mirror room. I hadn't dared to leave the room. I knew I couldn't. Today I was willing to take that risk though. I had not eaten food since the day that I was put on punishment. I always had snacks in my purse. I had been eating the peanuts that I had with me. I was able to brush my teeth though, luckily. I had a toothbrush that was always in the bathroom. I tried to call Rob again, for the 100th time, it seemed, but he was still ignoring my calls, and none of the runners would bring me food. I walked on eggshells to the bedroom that had my overnight bag. Out of habit, I knocked before entering the room. Thankfully, it was unlocked. I went inside and grabbed my bag. I tiptoed back to the game room. I was scared that I would be caught and get my ass beat. Once I made it back into the game room, I needed to make it to the shower. I went to the bathroom. I was so scared that I would get caught. I didn't plan to get dressed in the bathroom. It would just be easier for me just to get dressed in the mirror room. I took the fastest shower I had ever taken in my life. After I showered, I felt a lot better, though my stomach felt like it was practically touching my back. I decided that I was going to go downstairs to the basement, chocolate factory, and to find someone to give me some food. I made a bold move and left out of the room. As long as Rob was gone, I was sure I could at least get something into my system without him knowing. The only thing was, I had no idea where he was. I headed downstairs to the basement. I passed by Music 1. The door was open, but I didn't stop. I walked to the desk by the door and saw a new runner. I thought because this was a new runner that I could easily get away with this. I asked him to do a restaurant run to get me some Harold's chicken. He asked, "What room are you in?" I told him in a calm, collected tone, "The game room," as if I weren't desperate. He said, "Okay." I headed back upstairs, my heart racing. I didn't make it to the top of the stairs before Rob called me. My heart stopped, and so did my feet. I answered my phone to him, telling me that my food would be coming soon and to be ready for more when he gets back. He's on his way to play basketball. I was relieved that I was able to eat, though. I wasn't sure what more was, but I said, "Okay, I'll see you later, Daddy." I saw another young lady in sweats. She walked past me and continued down the stairs with her head down. I kept up the stairs and got back on my phone. I called my mom and told her that I was at Grandma's house now. She wanted to talk. I had been out for quite some time now, but I rushed her off the phone because someone knocked on the door. To my surprise, I opened the door to some flowers and a Louis Vuitton box. I knew that was Rob's way of saying sorry. I said thank you to the runner and closed the door. I opened the box and it was a Louis Vuitton purse. I called him to thank him for my gift, but he didn't answer. So I sent him a text message. My food came half an hour later. After eating, I decided to explore my newfound freedom. Rob was no longer mad. While roaming around the house, I found the theater room. I sat there for all of 15 minutes before making my way to Music 1. The door was still open when I walked over there. Love and Basketball was playing on TV. I closed the door, sat on the couch, and watched the movie. Somehow, I ended up falling asleep there. I woke up to Rob calling me around 9 a.m. He told me to come to his tour bus. I went to the bathroom and brushed my teeth. When I got to the tour bus, there was a young lady, a young girl, on the bus performing oral sex on him. I wasn't ready for that. I had no warning or anything. So, of course, upon arrival, I was taken aback, though I had to recover and play it cool immediately. He told me to take off my clothes and join in. As I took my clothes off, he said to me that she was around since she was 15 years old. I didn't know what he meant by that because it made no sense. He had the girl and I perform oral sex on one another. He had the girl and I perform oral sex on one another while he masturbated. I didn't want to participate, but I knew if I didn't, he would hit me again. Maybe with greater force this time around. When that was over, he had us perform oral on him. Once he ejaculated, we were told to spit, hit semen back and forth in each other's mouth. I never felt so disgusted in my life. He masturbated more and thrust his hips on the couch as he was watching us perform. That's when I noticed that he had a dildo up in his anus. I was silently praying and hoping for it to be over soon. It took him no time to finish. He ended it by ejaculating on our faces and slapping our foreheads with his penis. That's when I realized that I was no longer myself. Wow, so that was really, really deep. He's a rapist. Why couldn't he ask these girls permission first? Like, hey, listen, I'm going to do this. And if you don't mind, I'm going to just throw it all over your face and smack you on the forehead. Like, he's just like, okay, yeah, bitches, pat, pat, and jack, jack all over the place. Like, what is that about? No. Do this to women. Women. Ask permission first. Say, hey, listen, would you mind if I, let it off all over you on your face? Or should I just let it on your chest? Is that okay? Like, men don't understand. No matter what, whether you're in a relationship with the woman or you're not in a relationship with the woman, ask her first if she's cool with it. Don't just do it. You're going to freak her out, or she's going to look at you in a certain type of way, or she's not even going to feel comfortable with you anymore. You men don't understand. You always have to ask permission. It doesn't matter. No matter if you're in a relationship or not. You have to make the woman feel comfortable. Next chapter. Who am I? For the next 2 days, I stayed in the room. Rob and I didn't talk much after that. It had led me to wonder if him not speaking much was intentionally done because he was mad at me or something. He had disliked how me and that girl performed. He had sensed that I hated it. My anxious feeling of him would disappear when he finally called. Rob called me and told me to come upstairs to the game room. I didn't know what to expect. I was trying to remember if I had done anything worthy of punishment. I hadn't disobeyed him that day. He seemed to have been in a quite good mood when I saw him earlier, so I couldn't quite figure it out. I was a bit scared because I didn't know what to expect. I wasn't trying to be on his bad side. Plus, I wanted my Harold's chicken with mild sauce. Whatever I did, I was already planning my apology. I was sorry for being sorry. The walk from Music 1 to the game room seemed like the longest walk of my life. By the time I reached the door to the game room, my palms were sweating. I knocked on the door and waited for him to open it. Once he did, he told me to sit on the couch. I did just that. When Daddy is talking, you must listen. His mood determined whether or not you can ask questions. I sat there silently waiting for him to speak. He sat across from me and asked me, "Can I trust you?" I said, "Yes, you can. Always trust me." "Yes, you can. Always trust me." He nodded his head in agreement before saying, "I've trusted you with shit I haven't told motherfuckers that have been around me for 20 years. I need to know if I can really trust you." I felt relieved knowing that I wasn't on his bad side, no punishment for me, but I was curious about what was going on. I reminded him that he could trust me. He then brought up judgment. His next question was, "Would you ever judge me?" Without hesitation, I said, "No, never. I would never judge you. You can trust me." He said, "Okay." Then he got up, opened the door, and in walked a familiar face. A familiar guy. Bubba. He was the same one who invited me to Rob's party. He didn't speak. He just walked over to the couch that Rob was sitting on and sat next to him. I instantly thought, "Oh shit, Rob saw him talk to me in the studio. I know he's about to snap." However, that wasn't the case. Rob looked at me and smiled. Bubba looked at Rob for approval before getting on his knees in front of him. Rob then suddenly removed his penis from his pants. Within a second, his secret lover began to perform oral sex on him. Yes, I was watching as Rob received oral from another man. What was more shocking to me was that his secret lover was moaning and humming as he did it. I thought to myself, Rob taught me how to do that same thing. Rob started rubbing Bubba's head as he moaned in pleasure. After a few seconds of this, he tapped his secret lover on the shoulder, letting him know that was enough. I didn't know what to expect. I continued to watch as the two then got up and walked behind the couch. Bubba undressed from the waist down. That was when Rob bent him over and inserted his penis into Bubba's anus. I continued to watch with a good poker face. I was stirring inside. I was in shock and in disbelief about what I was seeing. I sat there bewildered with a straight face as they escaped into ecstasy, seemingly forgetting my presence. I couldn't judge him, and to see him have sex with a man couldn't change my view of him. Daddy was a lover of people, not judgment. No judgment could be passed. Wow. So see, Smelly Kelly likes guys too. It's okay. You know, everybody has a fetish. I don't give a fuck. But how much you want to make a bet? He's been doing that dude for years. And I wonder how long he's known this guy, Bubba. And how old was Bubba when he met him? I wonder if he's one of his victims as well. Who knows? Who knows? Like, wow. You know. And the poor girl is just sitting there watching and wondering and thinking to herself, what? She's was a kid. What was she? 16, right, at the time? Going on 17 almost, something? Wow. For me to be 16 and to see some shit like that in my face, I wouldn't even know what to say. I wouldn't even know what to say. I wouldn't know what to do. I would just be like her, quiet in the corner and not say nothing. And just be like, oh boy. Okie dokie. Next chapter. The One. March 17, 2010. Dominique and I started our relationship. I left Rob earlier that year in January, and Dominique left him shortly after I did. Dominique got involved with him because of me. When I first went to Rob's house, he said that I could invite a friend to his house since he'd been in the studio for long hours and didn't want me to be bored. The catch was I had to give him the person's name and phone number because he wanted to know who was coming to his house. I did just that. I reached out to Dominique and asked her if she wanted to come over. She said yes. I didn't know how things worked out between them. But Dominique and I never saw each other at the house. But I knew she was there because we were texting. Apparently, Rob had other plans. When we were with him, we were in communication, just not as much as we were previously. With him out of our lives, things were better. We were back to talking, texting daily. This time around, our phone conversations were longer than before. We talked about our entire experience there quite often. Even though Dominique never told me that she contracted genital herpes from him, she met with the same doctor that Rob introduced me to, who had examined me and said to me that I was experiencing an outbreak from the STD. Of course, Rob knew about it and offered me some pills to take. He explained to me that he had genital herpes after he passed it to me. Through Dominique, I found out that Rob's behavior had gotten worse. We often talked about the suicide pact that we were both a part of. The abuse that we experienced came up a lot in our conversations. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold up. Wait a minute. You mean to tell me Dominique probably has herpes too? So Dominique, Jerhonda, Faith Rogers, Azriel, Joycelyn all have herpes. So, like I said, when did Robert start that Trapped in the Closet song? When did he do that song? I gotta go back into my notes and find out when he did that, because like I said in my other video, he contracted those herpes and he decided to do a video about the package, which he tried to flip it to AIDS because he knows that AIDS was an epidemic. So he figured, let me switch it up and say AIDS so people don't look at me like, I'm crazy or I got a disease. You know, let me talk about the now and what's happening now. AIDS at this particular moment. You know, because it was still the early 90s, but this is the late 20s. I mean, this is already 2000s. So, yeah, like I said, this is mighty, mighty funny. I tell you. Oh, God, these poor girls messing around with this grown-ass whole man. Okay? And then she's talking about pills. And in the documentary, she said, what was the line she said? That there was a suicide pact. And that Rob told her to kill themselves with some pills in a coat pocket of a blazer or suit pants that he had or something hanging up somewhere. That if something should happen to him, you know, if he should go to jail or whatever, that she should kill herself. So Rob offered her some pills to take, and he admitted to her that he did have herpes. So they made a suicide pact because now, see, like I said, this is the package. This I think was the whole scene to, this was the package, bro. This was the package, y'all. I'm telling you. This was the package. This was the story of Trapped in the Closet. And this is how it started. With the package. And he knows he got the package. Ah, brother. So let's continue to read. I was so happy that we both left him. Looking back on things now, I don't think that we should have been in a relationship. We were two scorned individuals who needed to heal. We did not realize just how damaged we were. We had been through so much, and we just appreciated having each other. We understood one another. We knew each other well in our mind. We were the perfect match. Things were going great for us. After Dominique graduated high school in 2010, that's when we started encountering problems. Okay, so now at this time, the girls are about 17, 18, let's say, right? So that's when we started encountering problems. She started acting differently. She became more secretive. And we were taking week-long breaks in between conversations. I began to wonder about her actions. I asked her if she was seeing someone else. She assured me that she wasn't. This behavior continued for a few months. Around her birthday is when she told me that she had been stressed out and just trying to figure things out as far as our relationship goes. Nobody knew about our relationship because she was trying to please her mother, Michelle. She admitted to going on a date with an old co-worker to prove to her mother that she was straight. I wasn't bothered by that. I was thankful for the truth. I finally had an explanation for her actions. She promised not to keep me out of the loop, and she'd do better with communicating. From that point on, we didn't have any issues. None whatsoever. Until a month later in September, she texted me and said that we need to talk ASAP. It was important. I called her straight away. That phone conversation is one that I did not see coming. She told me that she had been on another date with that same guy, and she liked him. She asked me if it was okay for her to be in a relationship with the two of us. That is something that I did not get my approval. That is something that I did not get my approval. I wasn't willing to be tied up in that. I broke up with her. And it was fuck her from that point on. I felt stupid. I hated myself for even falling for her. I let the relationship go, but I did keep her as a friend. That wasn't easy to do because I liked her. Okay, so you guys had sex with each other too? Y'all had sex with each other. Y'all were in a relationship. Y'all had sex. You liked it. You enjoyed it. She enjoyed you. But I think she was telling Rob the whole time that she was seeing you. I don't know. Or she was seeing Rob the whole entire time, and it was not another guy. It was Rob. She went back to Rob and just didn't tell her. So, continuation. In October, we ended up getting back together. She cut him off entirely and stopped communicating with him to work on things with me, to prove her seriousness and loyalty to me. She talked about our relationship with other people. She told all of her close friends about me. I was no longer a secret amongst her friends or the friends that we shared. I was only a secret to her mom. At the time, I wasn't bothered that she didn't tell her mom anything. I was just happy with the fact that she told her friends about me. That was a big step for her to take. I was pleased about that. Being claimed is a huge deal. My family knew about Dominique. I decided to no longer put on this straight persona. I liked girls. I had a girlfriend, and they needed to know. My mother flipped shit. To be into girls is one thing, but to have a girlfriend, oh, that was different. She wasn't accepting that. She wasn't going to pretend to accept it. She hated me being into girls with every fiber on her body. She called me confused and told me that I needed help. Conversations were awkward again, and nothing was the same. I didn't fight to be accepted. I didn't care about them disowning me anymore. I was no longer bothered by their hatred for the LGBTQ community. I accepted myself for who I was. That's all that mattered to me. Dominique was a good friend, a good girlfriend, and a fantastic best friend. Nobody was going to change the way I felt, and I was not going to let their closed-minded way determine who or how I love. I made that very clear, and I wasn't willing to listen to their hate speeches or gay bashing. I didn't care. I was happy. She was delighted. She was delighted. We were all that mattered, even though Dominique was still going through the discovery phase. We were in a functional space. I was once in her position. Coming out to my family was not a walk in the park. on the couch and played Family Feud on my iPad before writing a few poems. Wow. So Michelle got to meet her. They hung out. They drank. Talked smack about things, life, whatever. And she was like, no, you're not sleeping with my daughter. You're going to sleep in the room over there. And my daughter's going to sleep over here. And you just make sure that the girl gets to bed safe. That's it. Deuces. And then in the morning, made breakfast and everything was cool. So, yeah. Next chapter. Used. I spent a lot of time at Michelle's house over the next few months. She became a second mom to me, so I thought. Looking back on things, she was manipulating me the entire time. Our conversations had shifted. She would always talk about designer bags, expensive vacations, new cars, etc. One day, Dominique asked me if I would give her $5,000 to get her braces put on. I told her that I would think about it. I guess I didn't get back to her fast enough because Michelle started asking me if I would pay for it. I told Michelle that I would think about paying for her braces. They were not going to benefit me in any way. Michelle went on talking about if I love Nika, I will get her some braces. Blah. I cracked under pressure and gave Dominique the $5,000 for her braces. Once Dominique got the money for her braces, she started acting differently. She was a straight up bitch to me for no reason.
When your V-neck looks more like a U-neck, that's when you know.
She didn't want me around. I couldn't talk to her mom. She was rude. I didn't know why she was behaving that way. Then Michelle let me in on a secret. One day in November, Michelle and I were having a drink together. Dominique came home, poured herself a glass of Hennessy, and joined us in the living room for all of 10 minutes before saying that she was tired and went downstairs to go to bed. Once Dominique left, Michelle went to her room and called out for me to come to join her. I went into her room and sat on the bed. She asked me what was going on between Dominique and me because she noticed that we barely talk when I'm around. And she always seemed to have an attitude towards me. I informed her that I was clueless about Dominique. Her mood shifts just happened. I did nothing to aid in her attitude change. Michelle looked at me and said, I have to be honest with you. Do not get mad at Nika. Don't even mention this. After I assured her that I wouldn't be mad at her, she went on, okay, Nika is still seeing Rob. Thank you. I know you two are together, but she's torn between the two of you. She doesn't want to tell you what's bothering her. You know, Nika is stubborn. She'd rather have an attitude and shut down over telling you what's going on. You've been knowing her for years. You know how she is. True enough, but I was livid. I couldn't believe what Michelle had just told me. I was ready to go downstairs and confront Dominique at that very moment. That explained everything. You see, I said it. I said she was seeing Rob behind her back. It wasn't another guy, it was Rob. She started seeing Rob again. I knew it. I knew it too. And I think she told Rob about it. And Rob had his little attitude about it. Whatever. Oh, boy. So, so she went downstairs. I was ready to go downstairs and confront Dominique at that very moment. That explains everything. Michelle asked me not to say anything. She told me that she would talk to her daughter and get this straightened out because she's been telling Nika how wrong she was for months. Then she went on to tell me about how she's currently cheating on her husband with some guy down in Florida. Oh, snap.
What you looking for, remote?
Wow. Jerhonda just blew up Michelle and said she was cheating on her husband with some guy in Florida. Wow. Jerhonda, you just like, wow. I don't know, and it continues, I don't know how that was supposed to help me. I cut the conversation short and let her know that I'd be sleeping on the couch instead of in her youngest son's room. I laid on the couch in utter disgust. How could Dominique do something like that? I was in a state of disbelief. I didn't want to believe that Dominique would do that. She's always been so open and honest with me. Dominique left Rob shortly after I did. There's just no way that could be possible. I wasn't going to believe it. The more I thought about it, the more I believed it. I stayed up until 2 a.m. and was thinking and writing. I was writing and thinking. However, I couldn't piece it all together. I just knew that our relationship had changed. Anytime she acted a certain way, it was because she was hiding something. I know. I said I wouldn't say anything, but I was going to get to the bottom of this. I looked at my phone. It was a little after 6 a.m. I decided to get my day started. I went to brush my teeth. Michelle got up shortly after me and went to work. Dominique wasn't feeling well, so she didn't take her to the train this time. Around 10 a.m., Dominique came upstairs and went to the bathroom. She was throwing up and complained about having a stomach ache. I made her some soup and hot tea. As she sat at the table eating her chicken soup, I asked her if there was anything that she wanted to tell me. She responded, "I love you." I didn't care about that, I said. I talked to your mom last night. So I'm going to ask you again. Is there anything that you want to tell me? She asked me. What did you and my mom talk about? I responded, "Are you still seeing Rob?" She didn't respond. She just continued to eat her soup, never looking back up at me. I walked over to the couch and grabbed my purse, an overnight bag from the floor. Then I walked downstairs towards the door. That's when she was ready to talk. She asked if we could talk in her room. I agreed. Not before telling her that I was going to be leaving right after the conversation. Dominique told me that she was indeed still seeing Rob, but she wanted to leave him alone altogether. I made it clear that we were no longer together, and if she wanted to be together, she'd have to prove it. This wasn't the first time that this had happened, though we were on again, off again. Seeing Rob while we were on is wrong. She went on to tell me that she believed her stomach problems came from Rob having her eat feces. Wow. So, she made, oh wow. So she went on to tell me that she believed her stomach ache problems came from Rob having her eat feces. She had mentioned this before, but it stuck with me during this conversation. The first time she shared it with me, she was recovering from what she told everyone was a stomach virus from eating undercooked steak. Oh, wow. Remember in the other chapter that she said that she wasn't feeling good in the undercooked steak and stuff, da-da-da? Well, what really happened was she ate shit. It had nothing to do with her eating undercooked steak then. And this time, the second time around, he made her eat it again. And I think it's because he knew that she was with Jerhonda. So whenever he knew that she was with Jerhonda, he punished her. And just to prove his loyalty, to prove her loyalty to him, he made her eat her feces. That is ridiculous. I can't. No way. Joshua! The first time she shared it with me. That's crazy. So now Jerhonda is like, whoa. I'm pretty sure she's like, whoa. And it continues to say, we finished talking. She said to me that she was serious about working on things between us. To prove her seriousness, she asked me to block Rob's number from her phone. That'll keep him from contacting her and vice versa. I agreed to do it and had his number blocked. I needed to get some good sleep. This was a lot to process. So I headed home shortly after the conversation was over. Like, really? So Jerhonda went and blocked Rob's number from Dominique's phone and then left, and that was proving to her something? That wouldn't prove shit to me. I'm sorry, because you're going to have your phone in your possession. All you have to do is go to your block list and unblock somebody. That made no sense, Jerhonda. Seriously, that made no sense. That wouldn't prove nothing to me. I don't even know why you even did that. That was dumb. Anyway. Joshua. I'm sorry. My son is in the background. And I'm trying to do this read for you guys. Like, I miss you guys, and I know you guys miss me too. So I'm trying to hook this up and do this for y'all. But we're going to have some interruptions. Sorry about that. Okay, and it continues to say, this was a lot to process. So I headed home shortly after the conversation was over. Next chapter. Blocked. Now that Rob's number was blocked, Dominique and I were on better terms. She no longer had an attitude. She was herself again. We talked daily again. Things seemed to be back perfect between us until I received a phone call from Michelle. She asked me to come out to it. It was urgent that we talked. She was headed home from work and asked that I come as soon as possible. I wasn't doing much of anything. I was already out in the south suburbs because I was hanging out with Bubba. Yes, that Bubba. So she was hanging out with Bubba still after she left Rob. Okay, so they were still friends after the fact. Okay. And Bubba didn't tell her nothing? Bubba didn't say, oh, Dominique was here? Okay. Wait. Let's continue this. The same man that I watched Rob have sex with, Bubba and I were not together. We had a sexual relationship. I never cheated on Dominique with him, but during our off periods, I'd have sex with Bubba. Wait, what? Yes, that Bubba, the same man that I watched Rob have sex with. Bubba and I were not together. We had a sexual relationship. I never cheated on Dominique with him, but during our off periods, I'd have sex with Bubba. This had been going on for a year. It was no secret between Dominique and me. She was well aware of what was going on between us. Right after I left Rob in 2010, Bubba became someone that I confided in. We were close friends. He was even borrowing money from me. I loaned him $1,000. He was a great guy, a good friend, and he gave the best advice. When I was depressed and suicidal, he held my hand every step of the way. Honestly, Joseph and Bubba were the only male friends that I had. Current day, looking back, I believe Bubba caught me at a vulnerable time. I was 17 years old when we started our sexual relationship. He started things by getting me drunk, loosening me up, and talking about my problems. It seems as if he was preying on me. With Dominique and I being over, I liked the friendship that we had redeveloped. I knew that I loved her, but I wasn't sure about what I wanted to be with her at this point. I waited an hour before leaving Bubba to head to Michelle's house. It took me about 20 minutes to get there. When I made it, Michelle was getting ready for her nightly bath. I went downstairs to Dominique's room to ask her if she knew what Michelle wanted to talk about. When Michelle got out of the tub and dressed, she called me upstairs. Dominique agreed to come with me to see what this conversation would be about. We walked upstairs together. When I turned left to go into Michelle's room, Dominique went right and disappeared into the bathroom, leaving me to speak with Michelle alone. For the first time, she asked me to close her door. She asked me, "Did Nika go in the bathroom?" I said, "Yes." She responded, "Okay, she about to take her bath then." In my mind, I thought, that's not what she said downstairs. When I heard the bath water running, I knew Michelle was right. She mentioned for me to sit down. As I sat down at the foot of her bed, she began, "I need you to take Rob off the blocked list." I fired back, "Are you serious? Is that what you invited me here for?" She responded, "Yes. You don't understand. I know y'all not together right now, but they've been talking on my phone. Nika is torn. It's bad. I don't want to see her hurting like this. I was totally against unblocking him, I told her. No, he's done enough. I'm not unblocking him. Do you even know why she was sick? It's not food poisoning. Dominique is the one who told me to block him. Michelle looked at me in disbelief, then responded, I'm her mother. I told you I know everything. If she wants to be with him and he have her doing things that mess with her health, she'll learn. I know about it all. I swear, both of y'all my child. Y'all act just like stubborn as hell. I ignored her comment. She changed the subject to Christmas gifts. She showed me this Louis Vuitton Artiste MM bag and a Louis Vuitton Josephine wallet that she wanted. She requested that I buy her the Louis Vuitton bag and wallet, and she was going to have Dominique buy her the Gucci bag or an ankle bracelet that she saw at Kay. Dominique walked into the room, and Michelle changed the subject again. This time, it was back on Rob. She told Dominique that I said no. Dominique said, I told you she was going to say that. They were speaking about me as if I wasn't standing there. I interrupted by asking Dominique, do you want his number unblocked? She responded, yeah, if that's what she want. Then she walked away, no elaboration. I followed her into her room. I sat on the bed and questioned her response as she got dressed. I asked her again if that's what she wanted. She told me she always gets what she wants no matter what. If that's what she wants, do it. I didn't understand why she was speaking like this was all for her mother. When she was fully dressed, she picked up a bottle of Hennessy that was on the side of her bed, took a shot of that straight from the bottle, then sat on the bed next to me. She broke her silence. I've been talking to him. I've seen him a few times. He thinks my phone is messed up, so we talk on my mom's phone. She went on to reveal a lot more. But that's not my truth to tell. It's hers. I went back upstairs to Michelle's room. This time, she begged me to remove him from the block list. I remained firm on keeping him blocked. When I went to the living room, Dominique came upstairs. She asked me to unblock him. I finally agreed to do so. I told Dominique that I wasn't sure about getting back with her, but now it's a definite no. She brought Bubba up and accused me of doing the same thing. I shot back. No, that's different. I told you everything about Bubba. I never lied or slept with him while we were together. I was with him today, but I didn't do anything with him. I just hung out with him and had a drink while we both talked about our problems. I haven't done anything with him for months now. He's still one of my best guy friends. We don't always fuck, you know. Dominique got mad and stormed downstairs. I didn't care anymore. If that's the life that she wanted, I wasn't going to stand in the way. Wow. Wow. So that's what happened there. You see, this is why I want to read all these girls' books, because there's things that are missing that we don't know about, maybe one girl meeting the other and how one ran into the other and how one slept with the other, or yeah. These books are definitely going to be reads. Definitely. So, next chapter. A break for the broken. I hadn't talked to Dominique in a week. I was just happy to be no longer a part of whatever that was going on. I still spoke to Michelle regularly. She was looking forward to getting that Louis Vuitton bag and wallet. That's all she talked about. Michelle and I planned the day for me to drop off her gift. The day I was supposed to drop it off, I went to Northbrook Mall that I knew had a Louis Vuitton store. I refused to go downtown. I hated the traffic and parking. It's no worse than LA. And it isn't as cluttered as New York City, but it's enough to make me avoid it. After buying her bag and wallet, I headed to her house. When I got there, the house was empty. Only Michelle was there. She told me that Dominique had gone to visit her grandma and her husband had taken their son to the movies. She was just relaxing. I gave her the gift she had been bugging me about. We didn't chat long, for I had to get back home. I had plans to smoke some weed and eat some Wendy's while watching Cat Williams' stand-up comedy until I fell out. Nothing was going to interrupt that. Dominique arrived as I was leaving out. She asked if we could talk. I flat out told her no. I continued with my plans. Unfortunately, those plans didn't include a conversation with Dominique. By the time I made it back home to Hanover Park, I had 3 missed calls from Dominique. We had only been in our new house for about 2 weeks. I still wasn't quite used to it. I was getting off the expressway by our old house. I stopped by Wendy's and grabbed some food. When I pulled into the garage, my brother was standing there smoking. I joined him. After we finished smoking together, I grabbed my Wendy's out of the car and went inside. He came in behind me and grabbed the Gatorade out of the refrigerator, then headed downstairs. I took a bottle of water from the pantry and headed upstairs. I decided to call Dominique back. She didn't want much of anything. She told me that Jay-Z and Kanye's Watch the Throne tour would be in Chicago in less than 2 days, and she wanted tickets to the show. I told her to tell Rob to buy her some tickets. I wasn't going to do it. I guess she didn't like my response because she hung up the phone on me. I didn't call her back. I ate my food and watched the stand-up comedy until I fell asleep. Next chapter. Again. Michelle called me early the next morning while I was brushing my teeth. I ignored the call. I had a feeling she was only going to try to talk me into buying Dominique a ticket to the show. I wasn't going to do it. After I sent her to voicemail twice, she sent me a text message saying, "Hey goddaughter, call mommy ASAP." I didn't even respond to that text message. She and Dominique seemed to be working together to get what they wanted from me. My family was already using me for all that I had. I paid for vacations, paid bills, bought cars, etc. I was tired of being used. Michelle texted me again about 2 hours later, stating that she was worried about me, and it's not like me not to return phone calls. I went ahead and called her back. She did what I thought she would do. She said she didn't know what was going on with Nika. She thinks her period is coming because she's moody and stubborn lately. She had to tell Nika that what she did to me last night was wrong. She can't be mad at me for not paying for her to see her favorite rappers. We're no longer together, and I'm not obligated to do anything for her. I liked where she was going with things. Then she hit me with, however you have to understand Nika's frustrations. You're not letting her see her favorite rappers. You know how much she loves Kanye and Jay-Z. She wants to take her big brother to the show. You know how close they are. She loves her brother. Will you at least consider it for me? Forget about Nika, spoiled ass. This is mommy asking you to do it for me. I told Michelle that I would call her back and quickly hung up the phone. I didn't want to hear anything else. Not even 5 minutes after hanging up, I received a text message from Dominique. She apologized for the way that she treated me. I didn't respond to her. It was apparent to me that they were working together. I turned my phone on silent and went to Woodfield Mall. I had no intention to shop. I just wanted to walk the mall. I did just that. I didn't buy a single thing, but I truly enjoyed myself. Wow. Ah, boy. So she went through a little something there with Michelle and Dominique for a little while. That's crazy. Well, you guys, I'm going to leave this right here. And we will be back to this soon. I don't know when I will continue to read this, but please make sure you like, you subscribe, share, hit that notification bell. Leave your comments below because this was kind of deep. And what do you guys think about these next few chapters I just read here? This is, whoa. Dominique and Michelle were deep with Jerhonda. Something else. Can't wait to read the next chapter. All right, you guys. So have a good night. Peace.